Well, hello, everybody. It is Thursday. We're in the beginning of February, and I want to thank you for joining me for this Elify Thursday Roundtable. We're going to be talking about the subject of thoughtful card design and really how you can create a card worth sharing. And that's really what it's all about. One of the things I love most about Shuffle is the flexibility that it gives you to really create a card about anything. So, the first question I have for you today is, have you created a card worth sharing? When I think about Shuffle, I think about the capability that this technology has to really create a card about anything. But with that, they say with the great power comes great responsibility. And you really have to have a little bit of thought or forethought when you go into creating and building your cards. This could be, what are you going to use your card for? Maybe you're using it just as a business card, a digital business card to introduce yourself to other people when you're out there networking and interacting and prospecting and generating new leads for your business. Maybe you're going to be using your card to highlight a product or service or provide some additional information. And maybe you're using a card to generate leads, using lead capture to prospect out, post it out. Some other questions you want to be asking yourself: how am I going to be sharing my card? Am I going to be sharing my card via social media online? Am I going to be texting it? Am I going to be using it with QR codes? Am I going to be, posting it on Instagram or wherever you want to be sharing your cards at? And I think, some categories to be thoughtful of is, am I going to be sharing my card online? Am I going to be sharing my card offline, etc.? And really be putting some thought behind, how am I going to be using my card? And that's going to help you lay out your design a little bit more efficiently. It's going to help you maximize what happens when somebody interacts with your design. And we're going to go through asking ourselves a few questions. So, Dana, I see that you've joined us. Thank you for joining. And, I want you to contribute, ask your questions, or talk about any thoughts, any contributions that you've had where you've seen successes on leveraging your Shuffle cards. But the first thing I tend to think about is, what's my intended use of this card? So if I'm building a business card, my intended use is to introduce myself to other people. I might think, okay, am I going to be sharing this online? Am I going to be sharing this offline? Maybe I'm using my Elify tap card to tap it to people's devices when I'm networking. Maybe I'm just going to be posting links in social media. I still want to be thinking about, when somebody views that card, what are they going to see? Do I want a big picture of me right at the top of that card so that they can visualize who I am? Do I want to include every way for that person to contact me? Maybe it's every phone number I have, every email address I have, all of my social media links. Again, this is your opportunity to curate the content that the person who interacts with your business card is going to see about you. Maybe you're going to do a section that writes up who you are, what you do, how you help others, and how you could potentially help the person you just met. Maybe you want to have some outbound web links that go to your portfolio of past services or your online reviews. Maybe you want a link for somebody to schedule a time to meet with you. Maybe you want to put a video on your card. These are all elements that you can put on your card, but you want to be intentional about how you're laying out your card. What I love about Shuffle on the mobile builder side is we have a lot of layouts that are already built for you. So you can go on ahead and start adding to those elements within those layouts. One of the things that I like is, you don't have to put everything on your card. You can just put in the information that you want to be displayed, and the rest of the stuff will be hidden. Or maybe you want to lay out a whole card for one specific use. You're going to be out at a specific event, you're going to be prospecting in a specific way, and you're going to be really targeted on how you use your card. The flexibility all exists within Shuffle to do that. You just have to be intentional about how you're making your card. So before I get too into the weeds about thoughtful design, I'm just going to open this up. Dana, if you have any questions, or anybody else on the call who has any questions, you can feel free to throw them in the chat, or go ahead and raise your hand, or just chime in if you unmute yourself. Otherwise, I will jump in and just start talking about some different use case scenarios and how I've thought about leveraging the technology when building out my cards. Any questions so far?
Well, I know you showed the other day about the little hub. I think it was was it a hub? I think he was actually on. You was on with Kathy, and you was talking about building, I guess, a hub. Right now, I'm in the process of not actually building a hub, but I mean, we was connected it to do a microsite. You kept saying?
Yep.
Right? So outside of how you, I mean, what was that a word that you came up with as far as that design, or?
No, I think it's just a term. Like when we think traditional website, we think of these big, bulky things. We go on to some registrar online, we create a domain, we maybe go use some third-party website platform to build out a big website, and we're managing that website. When I think about a microsite, the ability to spin up a lot of quick pages and then link those pages together. So, Danon, I think that brings us to a good point. You've got a few varieties of how you want to maybe lay out your cards, and then how you might want to leverage separate cards. And then to your point, how you might want to link cards together so that they work in combination with each other. So we can talk about those uses in general. And we sort of talked about that on Tuesday's training with Kathy. I know we'll be posting a replay of that, and she's working on a replay of that. But the first one we talked about is just one card, right? How do I create one card? And usually when I'm laying out my cards, this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm drawing a big box on the board, and hopefully you guys can see that with this little bit of glare here. I'll try and get a little bit closer. But in some cases, we call that like the scrolling page, right? I want to build a card that I can put information on, and it's just going to be one card that I'm going to be sharing people. So when the viewer comes in, they're seeing one piece of information. And then maybe if there's buttons or videos or things on here, they might be pointing to things away from that card. In some cases, we have these examples where it's almost like an endless scrolling card, right? The viewer sees the card when they open it up. This is what we would call above the fold. That's what they first see. And as they're scrolling, depending on if they're viewing it on their computer or their mobile device, they're going to be scrolling down on that card and seeing different sections. And then I always ask myself, well, what do I want my person to see, my visitor or the viewer of this card to see when they first open it up, right? I'm sitting there going, okay, are they going to see my picture? Is it going to be a big picture of me in there, and that's how they relate it to me? Is it going to be a big subject or title line, of what my offering is and what I want them to know about what I do? Maybe it's a service that I provide and the benefit of having that service. So again, I'm being more thoughtful of how I'm laying out the content within this card so that I can maximize what the card is going to be doing for me. If it's generating a lead, if it's getting them to click on a button, if it's getting them to just watch a video, all of those are going to be different ways to lay out a single card. So Danon, you talked about, what we would call a link hub, right? Where I would have a card, and on that card, I might just provide, man, these markers aren't doing so good. I would just see if I can find one that works, everybody. There we go. I would provide maybe some information, maybe it's an image, maybe it's some text, and then underneath it, it's a bunch of different buttons. And these buttons represent a hub of links that I want that viewer to go out to, right? I want to think about the path or the journey that I'm allowing that viewer to take as they look at my material. So I know link hubs are very popular on Instagram, where your profile only allows you to post one link. That one link can be the link for this card, and then all your other links are contained within this card that allow the viewer to go visit those different sites. Again, a value to this is maybe I'm curating the material that people are viewing so that when I share information, they're not going out on Google doing their own searching. I'm actually giving them a path to follow to all of the places. So in the Instagram example for like a link hub, maybe it goes to my LinkedIn, my Facebook, my, each of my different social sites that I'm trying to get people to connect with me on. Maybe it's my YouTube. all on there, but I only have one link to post. So I'm making one card that contains all of that. That's the use for like the link hub, if that makes sense, Dana. On the other end, maybe I'm creating a business card. So this would be like link hub. Maybe I'm creating a business card, right? And all I want on that business card is my picture, you know, who I am, my name, my title, my company, and ways for people to get a hold of me. And that's it. You know, I don't need it to do anything more than allow them to have my information. And I want to keep it short, simple, and sweet. Or maybe I want to add additional information on there. Maybe it's, you know, here's my link to my website, so they can follow out to do that. Or maybe it's a video that I'm going to embed in here of me talking about my services that I offer or my products that I promote. Again, I want to be thinking about the use of this card. And part of that use is, how will I be sharing it? And who's going to be viewing it? And what do I want that viewer to do? Ultimately, at the end of the day, I want that viewer to take some type of action, right? They're not just going to get my card. Maybe the goal is to have them save my card. Maybe the goal is to have them schedule an appointment with me. Maybe the goal is to capture some information if I'm broadcasting out a card to a bunch of people at an event to try and generate leads. Those are the questions we want to be asking ourselves when we go in to intentionally design a card. And then Dana, as we were talking yesterday, and I'm just going to clean the board here, we were talking about, it doesn't just have to be a single card, right? It doesn't just have to be that one endless scrolling card where you have different sections. Sometimes that catch-all one card with all of that information, if the person who you're marketing to, this information down here is the most important to them, but they're not going to scroll down on that page to see it, it makes more sense to maybe develop a separate card for each of these segments, right? So I could do 3 individual cards versus one card, and I could use these cards as individual links. I could send out this card specifically to a person so that they don't have to go through all the stuff to get to that information. In the example on Tuesday, we talked about somebody who might be selling products for different types of pets. You know what I mean? And this is the dog section, and this is the cat section. You know, is the cat person going to scroll through the dog section just to get down there? Or are we better off creating a separate card for each category? You know, a lot of us work with companies that sell maybe multiple products, and we want to highlight maybe the top 5 products that the company provides, but we might want to break it down and create a separate card to highlight each of those products, right? What is the product? What are the benefits? What has it done for others? What can it do for you? Some video about that product, and ultimately a call to action link for them to go to your store and buy that product. So you're really thinking the intentional wise of, how am I using these things? Individual cards are great, but what about that person who would want to see everything? Your choice is to have it all in one card, or you might go back to what we were talking about, creating a microsite, right? Where I might have all 3 cards, but each card contains the links to the other 2 cards, right? So that as somebody is on that card, they can navigate back and forth between all of the cards. If you're going at this intentionally, you can think about a different use for each of these scenarios. Is that making sense? And are there any questions so far?
So those are 2 different scenarios, 2 different microsites, or what would you call?
Yeah, I would call this one more of a microsite.
Okay.
Okay, I would call these like just individual pages, or like what I would refer to as like different landing pages, right? Okay, and the same thing here. This is a landing page as well. It just has like a big scroll on it, right? Maybe I want to have, hey guys, here's my portfolio of my art. And then you have so much art that you're just stacking images over images over images. Maybe you're promoting that art, and underneath each image in each section is a button for them to buy that art, and it takes them to a shopping cart that you've got, and you know, that type of thing. So really I'm thinking about who is going to be getting this material and what do I want them to do with it. because that's the power of Shuffle, right? I want to build something worth sharing to somebody, but I might build something for an event where I'm going to go out with one of these and just tap information to people's devices, and I just want them to connect with me. Or I might be at a trade show and I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I need their information back. So I'm going to include a section on my card that might be, a lead capture form with a button, to send that information to me. So I think that really the first question I want to be asking myself if I'm using Shuffle to promote is, what am I promoting? Am I promoting myself? Am I promoting a product? Am I promoting a service? If I'm doing all of those things, do I want to have it all on one card? Do I want to separate it out into different cards, right? Like, this is me, my business card, this is product one, this is service one, etc. Maybe you have multiple products and you're just going to create separate pages for each of them. Maybe you want to create a microsite that has all of those products linked together. So it's like, oh, if you're buying this, you might also want to check out this or that, without coming back and thinking, okay, who's going to be getting this card? How am I going to be delivering it to them? And what path am I wanting them to take? You might end up building something that isn't really going to help you, when the goal is to build something that's going to completely benefit you and allow you some efficiencies in leveraging technology to promote what you're doing or what you're offering.
Okay, and with that entail, you need to have at least 100 cards.
Yeah, I mean, every account.
Once you go down that rabbit hole,
yeah,
the microsite and the landing pages, you would need more, because all those are different cards.
They are. And again, when you start out with Shuffle, you've got 10 cards at your disposal. So you could create a 10-page microsite if you wanted to. You could create 10 individual cards. You could create one card that has all the information on it and have 9 card slots open. So really, it's up to what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to promote. Maybe you're providing a service to other people and you're building individual cards for them. Then you would want to have a lot of cards so that you can build a card and manage it for that person and provide that service. It really just boils down to, what are you trying to do? For me, I posted it in the broadcast today. One of the uses, I just have a business card. That's one of the cards in my stack, right? So every time I'm meeting people, I'm sharing my business card. And the whole goal of that is just for them to have some information on how to get a hold of me and what I do. It talks a little bit about Elify and Shuffle on there. It has a video, it has a few links, and mainly it has my information on it. And I think that's something that we can all benefit from. If you don't have or haven't built a business card yet, I truly think digital business card is the future of connecting with people. So the first thing you could be thinking about is, let's build a business card. So let's go on ahead and start laying that out, right? And then what is the goal of the business card? Is it just to have your information? Do you have a video about what you do? Is there some product or service or value add that you're offering to people who you connect with? You start out with what looks like a box, right? That's the layout of the page. You start out thinking, do I want my image at the top? Right? If that's going to be a picture of you, do you want it at the top or do you want it at the bottom? What's the most important information that you want that person to see about you? Are you offering them ways to connect with you? Maybe you put the picture at the top. Maybe you're putting your name. Then you're putting ways for them to contact you. Again, I showed that on an early example. This might be my phone. This might be a way for them to text me. This might be a way for them to email me. This might be my store location. Maybe it's ways to connect with you, right? I'm going to be putting on my social media sites. This is my Facebook. This is my Instagram. This is my YouTube. This is my LinkedIn. Whatever is of value that you want the people connecting with you to get access to. Maybe it's a video. Again, I'm just going to drop a video in here. Maybe you want to be really intentional and you want to do that video in replacement of the image, and you want to have a message to the person opening your card. Again, we're talking about creating an experience for the person who's receiving the card that we've shared with them that's going to highlight you, put you in the best light, and make your credibility go up for that person who you're interacting with. So it's a video that might be like, hey, it's Danon. It's so good to meet you. I really want to connect. On this card, you'll find some information about how to connect with me, and I'd encourage you to reach out if I can be of service. That alone is something that 99% of other people don't have on a business card, let alone, a paper business card. Again, on Shuffle, you can continue to add things. So maybe it's, hey, here's my information. The video's asking them to give me their information. And it might be, a form. Leave me your info. And it has a field for them to fill out their name, their number, and then submit that form to you so that you get it.
And
again, I wouldn't
put the bottom one would be a campaign.
And that would be using a campaign. Exactly, Danon. I would put on a campaign. I'd say my lead capture business card. And then I would put that campaign form on there. And I would ask myself, what information am I wanting back? Do I just need their name and their phone number? Then just ask for their name and their phone number. If you're using the campaigns or the forms for something completely different, maybe you want to know, how can I be of service for you? What topics do you want to have me cover? What would you like to meet? What are your goals? You can ask that within that form, but you're being intentional about what or how you're designing your card so that you can use it the way you intend to use it and have that visitor, the person whose eyeballs are on your card, take the actions that you want them to take. Any other questions so far? Again, this is just a use for like a business card. Again, if I was doing a product brochure, it'd be laid out completely different, Thoughts, comments, questions, anything to add?
Sorry I'm late, by the way.
Yeah, no, Jeff, good to have you on. Thanks for joining. I know you've built a bunch of cards in Shuffle. What types of uses are you using Shuffle for to build cards?
Well, I actually posted yesterday that I was going to display a couple things. I'm trying to make them as generic as possible because you know me, I don't like to, I want to make something that's generic enough, but you want me, I got something that's pretty cool to share, and what it's more of a landing page. Mm-hmm. So, obviously when you start with Shuffle, you want to start with your business card, your digital business card, right? Wouldn't you say that's your starting point?
I think that's the best starting point for 99.999% of people out there,
Absolutely. Absolutely. But and you know me, I like to okay, what's the next step? How do you, understanding an opt-in campaign, all these terms get muddled, and they did for me for a long time. Basically, it's just, how do you want to collect the names of the people who are interested in what you possibly, you offer? And so that collecting the list, again, you can, I have an Aweber account, and that gets into the whole conversation in the group that we're having about connecting all that. But the point is, you can do it right inside of Shuffle. And I've done that because I wanted to do an example, ER and everybody else, for those people that, they're not going to get an account with Aweber, ConvertKit, or whatever. You can collect those because it's more of a personalized, and you're not going to get overwhelmed with, if you're starting to collect 100 people to your list a day, yeah, it's time to get an autoresponder, but you can collect, and then you can have your pre-built follow-up cards. So what I did was I did it two different ways. I don't know if you want me to share my screen. I can maybe do this video later. I was just getting ready to do it. I'm writing some copy right now on kind of what you're talking about, on helping people that maybe have a business, or maybe people that don't have a business and they just don't know where to get started. So what I wanted to do is I built a 2-card, it's my 1-page funnel, but basically I built a single page. Okay. I cloned it.
Big page.
Yes, I cloned it, stripped off all the extraneous stuff. And so I want to collect an email. Okay. And so my freebie, and so I think that's another thing that we can help people with is, what is your freebie? You can't just collect an email just because you're a nice guy. Right. and hey, here's who I am, put your email below. Sorry, that's not going to work. So I have been creating, dude, and we talked, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and I'm in Alabama right now, by the way. I should show you there. That's the beautiful sunny day.
You're beautiful.
So, but here's the thing. What I did was, and I'm going to share this in the group, I wanted to create something where it's like just one thing. And what I did was a few weeks ago, I created a 5-minute video. Okay. And what that video does is do nothing more than invites the viewer to attend a free web class. Okay. So it's free to free.
Mhm.
So the first thing they get is to view the video. So I made an Elify card that intrigues them, and I'd be more than happy to share it, to watch this video. But I'm not going to let them watch it unless they give me their first name and their email. Okay. That's the trade. And I think if people understand that, oh, I can whip up a PDF, or my company, let's say you're with a company, most companies have got a little PDF, how to lose weight in 7 days with our program. Go get that PDF, put it in your Google Drive, click the share button and make it a shareable link. And I'm more than happy to share that that's a thing that I struggled with. I'm more than happy. You fill your Google Drive or whatever, that's my favorite, with PDFs, cheat sheets, whatever you want. And then you build your Elify card, write the copy that says, here's this cool thing to help you get the thing that you want without the thing that you don't want. Okay, that's one of my favorite headlines. Now they click the button, and now guess what? Elify card number 2 comes up. I've programmed it, Dana, as a campaign, right? So it pops up, and then it actually says, here's your free gift. The way you've got it designed, the mandatory pop-up sits over the top. You can see just a little bit. And dude, I went back and forth like 10 times, back and forth editing to make sure that the person on the opt-in, when they click the button on the first card, that they could see enough to tease them that, dang, I really do want to fill this form out because I want to see that video. And I can just see enough of Elify card number 2, which is basically a clone, with the video waiting for them. So they fill in the form. I collect their contact. I get their email. Now it immediately gives them the video. So I deliver my promise immediately. And so they feel good. My phone right now is going off. I've got their lead. I could follow up then if I want to put them in. If I do have an autoresponder, great. If I don't, no big deal. Just send them a follow-up Elify card, and but they're getting to watch that video. Now at the end of that video, I did something clever. I created step 1, watch the video, which was the promise, but at the bottom, and I'm happy to share this, I created step 2. What's a funnel? Everybody gets freaked out about funnels. It's not, a funnel's not ClickFunnels. It's not GrooveFunnels. It's any single page that tells a person to do one frickin' thing, and then you take them, give them that thing, and then you have another step. So what I did in the Elify card is step 2 is, guess what? After they watch the video, you know what the video is doing? It's getting them very psyched up to watch my free webinar. So then there's a button waiting after the video that says step 2, again, call to action, tell people what to do, don't ask them. Step 2, click here, and it goes to another site. So those of you that have a network marketing company or some other company, and you've got your Elify cards, they're bridges. Memorize this, everybody. It's a bridge. It is nothing. It's like on stage, you don't introduce the Eagles by just having them walk out. You have somebody come out or your UFC fight. You have that pre-introduction. That's a bridge that makes that person who walks out, everybody's excited to see him. Russell Brunson teaches this. When he would walk onto stage, he didn't get much response. They started to do an introduction that told about who he was and what he's accomplished. And by the time he walked out, the crowd was in a frenzy. So when he walked onto the stage, they were ready to listen to him. Mm-hmm. Same thing with your Elify cards. If you have a network marketing company and let's say you have a shake that makes you lose weight, right? I'm just going to give an example. You don't just send them to your network marketing. You don't just have a card that says, hey, I'm Jeff and I got this network marketing company. Go here and buy my shake. Does not work. You need a bridge that entices them, gives them something. Whether the company makes the freebie or whatever, give them something that maybe you've done or your story or a PDF, anything that gets them ready mentally to then go to. By the time they get to your site, the selling site, the buying site,
Mhm.
You got to have them sold, because if you go to especially a network marketing page, that's an anti-selling page, because those things will chase you away. So you have got to get the sale done previously. And so I've created a video. I spent, oh my God, I don't know how many hours. I just finished it, a PDF with my story, which is really difficult to write. People say it's easy, but it's difficult. And so that's available now, and I'm not selling anything. And so I think I got a little feedback that it's like, there's nothing for sale. My PDF is free. My workshop is free. My webinar is free. I'm not pitching anything. And so when you're doing that, that builds trust. That's called a trust funnel. And so when you're building your Elify cards, you guys decide, is this a card that is selling something, or is this a card that's creating a lead? You either want to build your list or you want to sell a product. Those are two completely different funnels or Elify pages. Okay.
Well, let's pause right there, Jeff, and let's talk about that, because we just talked about a business card, right, a second ago. And now we're talking about what is essentially a landing page or a sales funnel. Okay. And again, two different things that can serve completely different purposes,
right.
That can all be built on the platform. And again, there are techniques, and we can go look at the gurus out there. We can go take courses. We can do all of that to learn what these techniques are, right? How do we lay out the page? What is on the page? Are there big titles at the top? Are we leveraging video? What does the copy say? Are they scrolling down and seeing results of other people and testimonials? Do we have borrowed confidence from the other brands that we sort of link up with? And then again, what are the calls to action? What is the flow that you want that viewer to take? So in the example that you were just talking about, Jeff, let's put it into context that everybody who's watching this can use for their own purpose, right? Here we had a big title, right? What am I going to offer to you? Okay. This is the big benefit maybe, or this is the big statement, right? They call that the big H1 title text. If you go research online, right? I've got something that's going to grab your attention. It might be, if I'm on my browser, again, what's going to be above the fold if this is their computer screen that's going to get them to scroll down, or what's going to be shown on the mobile device when they're viewing this. I love video so much. I think, they say words are words, a picture's worth 1,000 words. How many words are a video worth? And maybe it's, here is that video with you, Jeff, talking about that valuable value add that you're going to give to them if they click step 1 and fill out your form. And then you go through, maybe you're paraphrasing that with some copy, et cetera. You're trying to do enough there to make them have an informed decision to take the next step forward, right? And you're telling them what to do. Step 1, click this button below to get that free video, or to get that free education, or to get that free PDF. I think you bring up a real valid point, right? Quid pro quo. Unless I'm out at a networking event and I'm like, here's my business card. If you want, you can fill out your information to connect with me. There's not really a value exchange going on other than that relationship. And hopefully you're not just going around saying, hey, connect with me, connect with me, connect with me. You're having true networking conversations with people, picking a few people that you want to talk to, forming that initial relationship during the conversation, and then going to make the exchange. And instead of giving them that piece of paper, you're giving them your digital card and asking them to give you something in return. In this case, you want to give them, maybe it's the video, or maybe it's the PDF. And to Jeff's point, he put a button on there. To Danon, what we were talking about on Tuesday is, how do you link two cards together? And this is Kathy's example on her card, where hers is connect with me. You know what I mean? This could be, watch the video. This could be download the PDF, etc. And when they click on that, you're linking it to another card. In Jeff's example, he's got a mandatory pop-up happening. What does that mean? That means the pop-up, that is the form, has to be completed, and the mandatory fields have to be filled in and submitted for them to get to the page that exists behind that form. If they don't, and this is sort of like they're going to do one of two things in Jeff's mind, right? He's thinking about that viewer journey. They're going to get on this page and they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to click through this page or they're going to bounce off this page. If they click through this page, they're going to fill out this form, or they're going to bounce off of that form. If they fill out the form and hit submit, the form closes. Jeff gets what he was looking for. He builds his list. again, to Jeff's point, if you're building a massive list, you might need to tap into some other tools out there to manage that list that you might be building. If you're managing or generating maybe 10, 20, 50 leads a day, that's something that you can manually go through and follow up with and do. They fill out the form, maybe it's name, it's email, it's phone, it's some other question, and then they're hitting submit. It closes down the form, and he's got this sort of thank you page. And again, he's fulfilling on his promise, right? I told you I was going to give you a video. This is the video, and right behind it is the video to play. And they're not going to be able to get to that unless they fill out the form. And then, step 2, maybe it's now that you've watched the sort of video with the 7 things that you shouldn't do or should do, or whatever those, buzz call to actions are. They're going to click on another button, and maybe that's registering for a larger event, or doing another thing, or purchasing a product, etc. This is a whole nother use that you can be using Shuffle for, that's above and beyond just a business card. And Jeff, to your point, there are tactics and strategies and methodologies that you can implement as you lay these things out, that any of us you can go on Google right now, everybody. You can search like best landing pages, you know what I mean? And there's pretty much going to be a hierarchical outline of how all of these work. And they're made up of different components, right? It's calls to actions, it's headlines, it's trust factors. It's all of these things, as Jeff talked about, to help you build a bridge with the visitor who's visiting your page to take that next call to action. And then you're just taking them through that journey, and you're playing what is, in essence, what I love, the statistical numbers game, right? If I get my card in front of 1,000 people by posting in a group on social, or by going to a big offline event and sharing this thing out, how many people are going to click versus bounce? And at the end of the day, how many leads will I generate, or how many registrations will I generate, or how many sales will I generate? But you want to be very strategic about that. Jeff, to your point, there are plenty of landing pages out there that are more like anti-sales pages. Yeah. And yet they're being promoted as like, hey, this is that one page you want to send everybody to, and they're going to buy. Mm-hmm. And then the person goes there and they're like, ooh, bounce. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And back in my day, it was, you'd even think about things like email marketing, right? You've got deliverability. That's your first question. If I send out 1 million emails, how many of them are going to go in the inbox versus how many are going to go in the spam box?
Right.
When they're in their inbox, what is the subject line going to entice somebody to open this? Or is it going to look so spammy that somebody's not going to want to open it at all, and they're going to mark it as spam or something like that? If they open it up, are they going to read it? If they read it, are they going to click through? If they click through, where are they going to go? Again, all of these play a role, no different than having a landing page that does some specific thing. This landing page could be, again, the intent, gathering leads. Another landing page could be, here's information about a product. And instead of them clicking to go to a lead capture form, they're literally going out to your third-party shopping cart site. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Here's the product. Here's the order. One big thing that I would urge everybody to consider, okay? A lot of us are taught, just send them to your main webpage or whatever. Again, we want to be strategic. We want to convert as many people on our call to action flow as possible. And what that does, one of the big things you want to do is lower the friction for the person who's viewing your information to take the path you want them to follow. At the end of the day, that's really valuable for them. If it becomes this hard uphill battle for them to do what you're asking them to do, the likelihood that they're going to do it is non-existent. You know what I mean? But if you make it simple, so that being said, I would link to the product page itself. If you're saying buy this shake and then you send them to a catalog that has 500 products on it, are they going to go through that whole catalog looking for the shake that they just learned about and how it changed your life and how you think it could change their life and all of that type of stuff? And again, think about it. You're not just sending them to your website, or you're not just sending them to the store. You're creating that bridge that's going to educate that person on why they should be listening to you, why you're the authority on that, why you're creating value or a bridge for them so that they can go through and take that next step. Then link it directly to the product page so that it's frictionless and they one click to buy and they're buying from you. That's the ideal way to start thinking about, how am I going to leverage my landing pages or my business cards or my link hubs or, my video. I love a video landing page. You know what I mean? It's short, simple, and sweet. And again, you're either going to bounce or you're going to take the next step. And then you monitor that. This is why we provide the analytics. You're going to monitor that to say, oh, wow, this is how many times my page is being opened. This is how many leads I'm getting captured. We had an example on Tuesday from the person who went to an event. I think it was something like 60 people were there, and they end up generating 10 leads out of it. 10 leads out of 60. Wow, that's better than 10% conversion on gathering names. And they're already starting to work those names. Again, if you're somebody out there who's just offline marketing, but you're pulling people to an online environment to choose their own adventure and take that path. Danon, I see your hand up. Go ahead, buddy.
Mainly my question. Okay, so the first card is actually either a business card or you using it as a landing page. Because I know he said that first thing first.
It's what your goal is, right? You could if what you'll see on this landing page, there's no business card information, right? So this is being used in a specific use case, whereas my business card would be used in an entirely separate use case. Like that link hub example we were just going through, where maybe it's a page that just has you.
Yeah.
And all of your links, all of the things you want somebody to connect with. The best use case for that's Instagram, because Instagram allows you to post one link, but you want them to find all your links. So you have to link that one link to a hub that gives them access to everywhere you want them to go. You're creating the path or the journey for your visitor to follow. And you want to be very intentional on that path or that journey, because it can impact the people who take it versus who don't. If Jeff doesn't dial in his landing page correctly, he'll have more people bouncing off the page than he has clicking the button to fill out the form. And so it's up to Jeff to continue to iterate on that so that he optimizes the page that, in a perfect world, right? In a perfect scenario, the page would be so good that everybody who sees it clicks that button, fills out that form, and he has 100% conversion. Now, the reality is it's going to fall somewhere between 0 and 100%, depending on how the content laid out on this page gets that visitor to feel about taking that call to action.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I, would you mind, ER? I have a really perfect example for what
Sure,
you just
go ahead and share your
Can
screen.
I share screen just for a second, Dana? And I
Sure.
think this is what I was going to put in the group, and with your permission, I can put these links in the comments of this later. But let me just take just a second and I'll just show you if I can hit share screen here. Let's see. Oh my, here we go. Now, you guys let me know if you're seeing this Elify card. You're about to learn.
We've got your card up here, Jeff.
Can you see it?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay, so we can see there's no picture of me there. This is a web page, a single page funnel. Okay, you're about to learn the secrets of making and fill in the blanks here, guys. You can steal this from me because I stole this from Russell Brunson, who stole it from one of the best copywriters of all time. You're
100%.
about to learn the secrets to losing 5 pounds in 10 days. Or whatever the result that you folks are out there watching this right now, what result do you give your ideal customer? I want you to put it in that second line, okay? You're about to learn the secrets to fill in the blank that most people will never know. I'm giving what I'm sharing right here now. This is a $1 million headline. Now, what I do next is, because it's a video, I put inside this free video, you'll learn. I could have put inside this free cheat sheet, inside this free whatever, but I made a video, and so that's my freebie. But what am I doing here, guys? I'm selling the video, right? That's it. Inside this video, you'll learn. Again, these are bullets, which are next. Headline is number one most important thing. I just did a thing on the 7 things of a perfect selling formula. Your headline, and then now this is setting the stage. How to tell if you're ready to make money online, desire to earn money, learn what MAE means, what the heck is that? What's a video hack? All these. So I'm not going to read all the bullets, but the bullets go to here. And now here's curiosity image, right? They're looking at this screen and there's my video. Something big is coming. What is that? It's curiosity. People looking at the screen. It's a quirky little image. Yes, I want to see the video now after this. or I put down here. And so I do a second cell right there. That's why there's 2 buttons. Then the image. And then if you're serious about, again, another copy thing, you guys put, if you're serious about losing 10 pounds in 5 days, you need to blah, blah, blah. Listen to this. If you're serious about, connecting with people with a digital business card, you need to, go to the Elify site.
Exactly.
Okay. This is about creating new passive income online without the bad stuff, wasting time, wasting money, buying another course. Click here now to see a special video that will show you exactly how to earn income fast. Mm-hmm. Now, would you click that button? If you don't want to earn money online, you're not going to click it. I don't want those. I'm filtering all of my no's, all of my rejections, all of my, my 100 MLM list that I don't even care about making money online. Well, I'm not going to get rejected, right? This is my rejection-free card, because the only people that click this button are people that are interested possibly in making money online. So they click it.
And you can see it's opening up a second card. There's our example that we had earlier as Jeff's got up. Congratulations, you're serious. He acknowledges or re-acknowledges their desire, asks for a little bit of information. And if they fill that out, because this is a mandatory form, you can see right here's your free video, and it's sitting right in the background. So they know they're going to get what Jeff was offering, and that entices them to fill out the form a little bit more.
So I'm going to do this real quick. So again, to move into, I'm taking them through step by step.
Yep. So now, and then they submit, and you've got the form out there behind it. So you can see there it is. And then again, you've got the second call to action, right? Step 2 just below it. Step 1, watch this first. Step 2, again, take that next call to action. Jeff, do me one favor. Can you go up to your previous tab up in your browser there where you had the original card before? And I want you to take an opportunity. Does this scroll any more past that second call to action? Okay.
Here you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I created about a 30, I created a little bit of a buffer there. Is that what No.
What I was going to say is this is almost as well one of the things that we talk about. And if you don't mind, stop sharing so I can jump back up on the board here, is what I love about Jeff's example, and Jeff, what I'll probably have you do is post the template ID in the social so that people can search that template online and pull it up and then take it from there to modify it for themselves, because there's a great use case for everybody. We're all promoting something. And again, you saw in Jeff's example, right? The title text, I'm going to show you how to do this or that or this or that, etc. And then, he's got instead of a video here, he has his bullet points, right? So we'll put the bullet points in on what they'll learn in that video that they're going to be watching, and then the click to do that. Now, what Jeff has also done, and what I've seen a lot of other promoters do, is they start to create what I would call the endless scrolling sales page. Okay. Now, in Jeff's example, it's not endless scrolling, but it could very well evolve into that. And here's why. Right? When my viewer comes on, and Jeff, you talked about it spot on, you're basically leveraging a landing page to be a filtering mechanism to identify the people who are leaning forward and ready to take the next step in what your offer is. And you're basically holding their hand in that choose your own adventure. So in Jeff's example here, he had the one click and it goes there. And some percentage of people are going to read the headline, read the bullet points, and make that informed decision. Yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And they're going to click that first, what we would call a call to action button, right? They're going to click that button to go to that form. But below that, you saw that Jeff added another image. Again, it could be an image, it could be a video, it could be something else, some additional text. And then he has a second CTA, a second button. And I bet if we go back to that page, Jeff, both of them link to that form. And what you'll typically see if you're doing endless scrolling pages online is if the person doesn't click your first button, it's because they don't have enough information. You haven't built enough of a bridge or a trust process for them to click that first call to action. So as they scroll on your page, you're providing them additional information. You're trying to proactively answer those educational things or those objections that they might have in their mind in order to take the next call to action. Some elements that you'll see on these endless scrolling pages, and an endless scrolling page is not meant to be negative. It's meant to be a descriptor, right? So on an endless scrolling page, I might have the initial stuff with the call to action. I might have a video with the next call to action. I might have some testimonials underneath that. People who've already watched the video you want to watch, you know what I mean? And what their end result has been. And then as you'll see people scrolling, oh, wow, you know, I really needed to know that I'm not the only one. So those testimonials made me want to click, and you'll have a third call to action. Or maybe it's brands that leverage these same strategies and they're all notable brands. Again, that's borrowed confidence. You can continue to add elements within your card, and all of those calls to action could go to the exact same place. Again, Jeff has one goal with this card, right? The one goal is to get somebody to fill out his lead capture so that he captures and builds his list. He's not trying to diverge from that goal. And I think that's the important thing to understand from the landing page. All too often, I see somebody trying to cover 1,000 goals with one page. You know what I mean? And there's too much distraction on that page. We talk about the right information to the right person at the right time. What is your end goal? The end goal on this page is to fill out the form. The end goal on this page, right? Here's the thanks. Here's the video you wanted to see. That's exactly what Jeff was showing. The next step, step 2, register. Now he's got a separate goal on this page than he had on that page because he already accomplished the goal of that page, right? So now his next goal is I want people to start registering for this event. So think about the journey that you're asking your visitor to take. Whether, again, it's a link hub, whether it's the business card, whether it's the microsite, Danon, whether it's a landing page, all of these are available to be built within Shuffle. Some of them we already have templates within the marketplace to set up. Others, we've got this amazing community of people just like Jeff who are going to post the template ID for this so that if you want to leverage this layout in your own process, you can go on ahead and go down that process. And then you can go into Shuffle and you could go into the desktop builder and you could build your own. You could lay it out. You could grab, drag, and drop, but you want to start by first mapping out what is the goal. And I think start with the goal in mind, right? Jeff's goal was, I got to capture some leads. Okay, then I know my calls to action are going to lead to a lead capture button.
Yeah, can I, here's a, you know, I think some people, the whole campaign thing, I want to make sure, because I did use 2 cards. It's a 1 page, but it's basically, I cloned it. Mm-hmm. But the campaign that I built wasn't in the first card. I made the campaign in the second card, made that link, and then that is the link that I program in the button in the first card. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense, Dana?
Yep.
Because that gets really confusing.
We talked about that, Jeff, last week. Okay, I know we're coming up on the end of our hour here, but I want to call out specifically what Jeff just mentioned. He just showed the campaign link. I got it up on my card. For anybody who just watched that, like pause, rewind the replay, and scan what Jeff was just holding up. Again, an amazing way to share online, right? I just used the QR code. What he ended up doing is he built both of these cards, card 1 and card 2. We went through this with Kathy. He created a campaign link with a lead capture for card 2, and he put that link on this button. And Danon, that's what we covered on Tuesday when we talked about the Connect With Me that Kathy had as an example, or doing it multiple times to create a microsite. If you're proactive about your planning, then you can create each separate card and what their intent is, and then grab the campaign links of those cards and put them within the calls to action on your other cards. These are a little bit more advanced strategies, but the capability is there for everybody to leverage it. You know, when I think about creating something worth sharing, at a minimum, create 1 card. Think about what that card is going to do for you. Get it out there and start sharing it. Look at the feedback loop that card creates for you, and then optimize that card. I always say done is better than perfect. Get it out there, get it done, share it with people, see what the traction is, then come back and make some adjustments. You know, Jeff is going to run his card campaign out there, and he might come back and say, hey, you know, instead of those bullet points, I'm going to do a video that says, hey guys, Jeff here, you know, I want to tell you about this, that, and the next thing. All you need to do is click step 1 to get access to that free video. And he might find, wow, my conversion just doubled on people who are filling out my form. or he might split test that and realize the video turns people away, and people are more likely to fill out the form with the bullet points. It's all about testing and iterating and optimizing these pages so that they achieve the end goal of what you're trying to accomplish. In this case, Jeff's end goal is to generate leads first and foremost. Then secondary goal on this page is to generate registrations for the course. Dana and I saw that hand go up. We'll take this one last question, and then we're going to round out this roundtable, everybody. Go ahead, Dana.
Okay, well, I guess the difference was, see, man didn't say that, Jeff. I didn't get that, Jeff. But my very first card was actually this. Because I knew I didn't have a website. I didn't want to take the time. So my very first card was one of these. And at the time, I heard of funnels, and I kind of was getting into that. And this is, after that, but I was actually calling this my business card. And I see right now that was the wrong road to go down.
Sure.
Yes. So, I have this whole little concept. I just, maybe I get with Jeff another time, but my thing is the copy that I need to connect with people, to make sure that my card, outside of connecting my card, I think I did a good job. And all of you all should have my card except Leonita, and whoever success is. If you look at my card, it's connected just like this, to where it goes from there to there. Yep. But it was initially tended to be my business card, and I see that shouldn't have been the case. Now my second question is the registration. When you go to the registration, what would be considered for the registration, Jeff?
Are you talking about?
On your page too, Jeff,
just so you guys know,
you're sending them to a registration site.
Third party.
Yep.
I build in different software, but I have built 3 funnels in ClickFunnels. I use Elify to then connect over, and again, it can be any site. It could be, if I was with a network marketing company, you'd go over there, but I'm building my own stuff now. So I have a webinar funnel. I have a lead funnel, this perfect selling formula. Look at that. This is a PDF. I spent so much time. That's what they get. That's very similar to what Samcart does to get theirs. And then I spent, this took me hours and hours and days to write this and make this PDF. It's free. So I'm giving them this free thing, but guess what I'm doing in this free thing? All I'm doing is there's buttons, like you said, this page sales letter, basically, that I'm telling them how to write a long page sales letter. I'm demonstrating it. And then guess what they get to go to? A free workshop where I then do a video of explaining the 7 steps of the copy. So I'm happy to give this to the entire Elify group for free. Just use it. I'm not going to, there's nothing else. It's a $500 value, my workshop. I'm giving it away for free for now. Limited time only, extremely.
I love it.
Now, so would it be safe to say that registration would be a buy shuffle now?
Yes, absolutely. Dana, if you're setting this up to say, I'm going to use this layout to promote referring shuffle, your title, information, the call to action, maybe you're asking them to fill out the form to build your list. And then, why this is important. And then here's how you go to get your free card. Again, I love what Jeff says. If you can offer something for free, there's a lot of value for that. You create a value around that, and then you say it's for free, and then allow them to register. This could be a third-party website. Again, that's the power of what you can do in Shuffle, is you can point it out to everywhere. The one thing I want to call out in closing, and I think this was something that came out of what Jeff was just talking about. Take some time to think about your copy, to think about what the viewer is going to see. Jeff's got this pages and pages and pages of notes because he wants to detail this out. Maybe you're asking your audience, or maybe you're interviewing a few other people. Hey, read this. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you can write something that comes across as spammy, right? As sort of salesy. And people are wise. They're hip to this stuff nowadays, right? They're going to see it. And you want to make sure you're offering something of value to them, right? I'm not trying to sell you. I'm trying to give you something. I'm trying to help you accomplish something. I always think about like, who are you? What do you do? How have you helped other people is a big thing to include in your copy, and examples of that are measurable. And then how you're going to help the person that is there. In some cases, it's not highlighting you at all. It's highlighting the information or the product that you're promoting, right? This isn't a business card because it has nothing about Danon on it. It has everything about what Danon is promoting. You know what I mean? Whereas on the other end, you might be promoting yourself or your personal brand. Then you're going to highlight the heck out of yourself. Who is ER? What does ER do? How does ER help other people? Here's the examples. How is he going to help you? All you need to do is either connect with ER, fill out this form for ER, etc. So be thinking about that. Be intentional about that. Take an opportunity to do some due diligence, do some research online. There's so many examples out there, guys, so many examples out there. And what I love, I'm a big person that wants to consume a lot of examples because you're going to start to see patterns emerge. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? If you see the pattern emerge, you're going to realize, wow, you know, a lot of these big sales sites, they use a big captive headline. Well, then I should probably have a big captive headline on my page. You know, oh, wow, they want to detail out in a consumable fashion exactly what I'm going to get so that as my viewer, and you have to think about the typical viewer, right? They've got about 3 seconds of attention span when they open your card on whether they're going to sit there. You're not going to put a big book of a paragraph there that they're going to read through because most likely they're going to be skimming it. Visuals are very good. Does the visual set you apart? Does it seem like it's related to what you're doing? You know, Jeff, on your example, I might even suggest creating a background image. Go into the desktop editor and add a background image. Change it from a static color to maybe having some visual thing behind it. All of these can play a role. It's no different than when you get to this page. And what I loved about Jeff's example here on his campaign page, you can see just behind the form, and he said he spent time doing that and laying that out. Just behind the form, it shows that the video he told you were going to see is already there with the little plate just peeking out, that all I just need to do is fill out my name and my phone number, or my name and my email address, or my name and my whatever, and then I can have exactly what was promised. Like, that's fulfilling on your offer. So these are all important elements. I know we don't have a ton of time to dig into all of this. I'm going to post this replay in our social group. We can start an online comment thread and stuff like that as well. We want to be doing these each and every week because we want people to be leveraging this technology so that they have something that's worth sharing. They have something that's going to generate leads for them, or generate sales for them, or generate outreach to them, or connect them with other people, or give people a seamless way to get to their store to buy. There are so many different things, and it's not going to be a catch-all, right? There's not one perfect way. You know, that's why I struggle with, like, okay, everybody, this is the one template. We all must use this template. No, if everybody was using the same template, then every time we went to a website, we'd be wise to what's going on. Like, there it is again. This is what, you know what I mean? No, it's about you building that bridge and that trust process to help the viewer understand what value you're bringing to them, how you can help them, and the steps in the path that they need to take so that you can fulfill on that promise.
Yeah, I know you guys won't say this because this is, I'm going to pitch the upsell for Elify. If you don't have the 100 card upgrade, you absolutely have to have it. I am deleting cards every day because I'm constantly, I've got 100 cards and they bubble over. And it's because I've got stuff that every idea that I have goes in there. Sometimes no one ever sees them, guys. Because their thoughts, their ideas, I may go back and I find myself going back into old cards, rebooting them and saying, damn, that was good. I now need this because I'm at a different place in my business where I didn't need a social media tips, PDF, freebie. Now everybody like, what do I post on social media? I got a whole Elify card on that.
Yeah.
Right. And I just go into Google Docs. Again, if you guys, get Google Drive and start making, create PDFs, get Canva. I will be more than happy to help you guys. Again, I'm not a designer, but I tell you what, you can have the coolest PDF, value-driven freebies, Canva, Google Drive, Elify, boom, end of story. It's free. Two of those, my gosh, you can have a business for under $50, with just what I mentioned. I mean, I pay the Canva thing, but like most of these softwares are free to kind of start you off, just like your free card. Yep. And I think but folks, if you don't have the 100 card, because then you just play, yep. I have cards that you cannot believe I have Thanksgiving cards. I've got cards that are, lead generation, PDFs, free books, free, whatever. And a lot of them sit and collect up, sadly, but the more that you create, yep. Then when it does come time, like for now, I really have a very targeted focus. It just makes all of that work that you put into those practice cards, some of them it's okay, because they're there. You go back and you're like, shoot, that was really good. I'm going to pull that forward and do that. 10 cards isn't enough. You need a.
Well, I thank you for that, Jeff, and that recommendation to get 100 cards. I will tell you this: if you're maxing out your 100 cards, please reach out to us at support@elify.com. We can extend it. I've got people with hundreds, of cards in their stack. So we want to make sure that you have the capability to build what you're wanting to build. Jeff, to your point, get in there and build. Play around. You're not going to break anything, and you're going to learn how to use the tool. If you've never built a website before, I used to be that guy who had to learn coding, right? Like HTML, CSS, all of that stuff to try and build a website. Nowadays, you can drag, drop, fill out a form, etc., and build a simple site to share people to that can get them to take the actions that you want them to take. And that's what Shuffle is all about. So in closing, guys, I want to thank you for joining us for this Thursday's roundtable discussion on building something worth sharing. We're going to continue this on each and every week for the rest of the year. We invite you to join, bring your comments. Jeff, I really want to thank you for sharing all of that valuable knowledge. Yeah. We want to make sure we get that template ID posted in the comments and everything like that so that everybody can use and leverage that. And we want to invite everybody else to come on and contribute as well, to ask their questions and to bring value to the Elify community, because that's what it's all about. It's not just about us and our technology. It's about you and building something worth sharing. So with that being said, everybody, we'll see you on the next call. If you're going to be joining us for our next call, that's Friday with the founders, Friday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And again, it's going to be the whole community coming together to talk a little bit more about Elify, our mission, what we're working on, and how you can make a passive residual income by helping us spread the word about Elify and Shuffle with the rest of the world.